All right. Yet again, I don't know what or whom this is for. I'm trying to be obedient to the call that seems to be here in front of me again and again to share the experiences that I have been having. And so I'm going to try to do that. So this morning, it's early. Well, not early, but early-ish. It's morning, just about 8 o'clock. I just dropped my son off at school, and I've started trying to pray over him as he exits the car. And I asked him to get involved. We started earlier. We had a little prayer, and it prompted me afterwards to share something with him that really sort of broke me open, and I had a realization that I felt prompted to put here. I don't know why or for who, but here we go. So I've been an emotional wreck for a majority of my life. I've had a hard time dealing with people and circumstances. There's lots of labels people have tried to apply to this over time. It doesn't matter what it's called, only insofar as a way that if you have had these same things, perhaps you can relate. Anyway, my mind's scattered. I'm a very negative self-talk, very pessimistic, my natural default settings and the trauma of my life. Anyways, I didn't know how to be a grown-up. I didn't know how to be a dad, but I knew how important it was based on my past. I knew how much I needed to be good to the kids I had, and I wanted to do it desperately. And over time, I'm getting to the part about this morning with my son. So over time, as I tried to cope with all the stress and all the anxiety and all the ups and downs of basically being a child, trying to manage parenting and being a husband and a citizen and all these things, and the stress and the anxiety and the grinding down over time of my, I don't know, psychology, whatever, personality, spirit, I don't know what, it led to a place of depression and sadness and loneliness and isolation and just more and more shutting down. One of the ways this would be manifest in life is I would get frustrated when things didn't work right. I would get angry. I'm a passionate communicator. Even when I'm happily talking about things, people think I'm angry or arguing. I'm not. I'm just very animated and passionate when I speak. So when I'm angry, it's a sight, and I'm not bragging. I hate it. I want it to go away. It's my worst quality, and I watched it terrify my children for a long time, and I would always apologize. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. I'm so sorry. And so anyway, I'm praying with my son on the way to school. This comes up and it starts coming out of my mouth, and I'm sharing. I said, Ashton, son, I appreciate over the time, because he would tell me, he'd say, Dad, in a very innocent, beautiful way, Dad, you keep telling me you're going to stop yelling. You keep telling me you don't want to get mad, and you keep getting mad and you keep yelling. And it broke me. It broke my heart every single time. It broke my heart every single time. It broke my heart. And I always wanted to stop. It was always an honest thing. I was always telling the truth. I always wanted it to be the last time. The shame and the guilt and the self-hate that was built into every cycle of this, of the yelling or the screaming. And it was really just a realization, not that I was conscious of it at the time, that I was overreacting for nothing. I knew I could see all the pieces, but I couldn't stop them. It was like an addiction. It was an addiction. It was a pattern. It was ruts in the road, right? It was these grooves in my behavior, in my responses that I couldn't stop doing. But because I had a child, because I cared about him, because I loved so deeply, I had to attend to the thing in front of me. And the thing in front of me was this pain that this generates must mean something. And I couldn't articulate it at the time, but I knew deep in my bones, pay attention. This hurts for a reason. There's pain here because you need to attend to something. And I've spent so many years trying to figure out how and what and why. And you can go down any road you want. You can go down meditation, and you can go down religion, and you can go down alcohol, and it doesn't matter. Whatever thing you want to try to slap over that. None of it worked for me. None of it worked. And it was never the last time. And I always got mad again. And I always had to see that beautiful, wonderful spirit of my son looking me in the face and saying, Dad, why do you keep yelling? You keep saying you're going to stop, and knowing he thinks that I don't care enough to stop, knowing that he's seen me do these other things, and he must believe that you're capable of stopping and you're not, so you must want to yell at me, right? And it doesn't matter if that's true in the mind of a child, in the way that they think. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. And that's what they internalize. And I knew it somehow. I couldn't articulate it like I am right now, but somewhere in there, it's what caused the pain. It was the difference between the want and the do, right? The desire and the outcome, and the watching, the reflection in real time, watching the damage be done to someone you love at your own hands. And it breaks you open. It breaks you open because it hurts so bad. And so I shared this with my son, and I thanked him, and I said, because of you, because you could speak it, because you kept telling me and reminding me, you were the influence, you were the creator of the Father now in front of you, who can actually begin to stop getting mad, right? Who meant it every time, but couldn't achieve it on his own free will. And we are coming up on the anniversary of 1 year. And I don't know what to call it other than an encounter with the one true God of the universe. And more and more things have been solidifying over time. Each thing, each iteration, each understanding, there's this repeating pattern. And I keep coming back to this repeating pattern. And it keeps being something that I feel like I'm being pushed to share. So here I am, I'm sharing. So I guess my insight for the day is, I don't know, mind your tongue, watch your thoughts, recognize the ruts, right? Recognize the wheel ruts in the way you're doing things, in the way you're thinking, in the way you're approaching everything you do, your family, your spouse, your friends, your work, your hobbies, whatever it is. Recognize the ruts. Begin to look at the ruts. When there is pain, attend to it. Do not ignore it. Do not mask it. Do not try to band-aid over it. Don't pour alcohol onto it. Don't go out and get promiscuous to cover it up. If you feel lonely and isolated and hurt, when you're in a sea of people, when you have a family, I had everything my heart could have ever desired. And I still had this empty, deep, aching pain that hurt so bad. There were days I just didn't want to wake up anymore. And I promise you, that the abundant life, right? What Jesus kept referring to as the kingdom of heaven, which he kept saying is at hand, which is right here. Here's your hand. It's this close, right? What's he talking about? He's talking about this shift in the perception of what is going on, right? In the perception of what you have in front of you right now. There is a rut in your thinking, in your action, in your behavior. And once you can see it, but you need a mirror. You need a mirror. So the more you distract yourself, the more you're self-centered, the more you focus on you, the more that you don't care, essentially, about the quote unquote other, whatever that is, other people in your life, other people at work, your adversary, some religious group you don't like. It doesn't matter what it is. Whomever you're othering, right? There's pain for a reason. Look deeply at it. Look deeply at your pain. Do not lash out, because chances are when you get close to the answer, it's going to be personal and it's going to hurt and it's going to be a reflection of your behavior, the thing you are pushing out into the world. It's coming back at you because you're putting it out. And that's not to say like there's not real victimization. Of course there is. Of course there is. Of course there is. But in our daily life, we have the opportunity to create peace and love and joy and prosperity for the people around us. And what I'm saying is that when we are damaged, when we are hurt, in real actual victimizing ways, many of us, not all of us, many of us, we internalize and we come up with a false narrative and we become negative, and then we push that back out on the world because we were hurt legitimately by people we shouldn't have been, by people who took advantage of us. Every hurt, every trauma is a betrayal. It's someone who used words like love and trust and loyalty, and they didn't do it. They lied to us and they hurt us, and it was real. And in whatever way you've been hurt, you were hurt. You were yes, it's true. Yes. And I'm constantly drawn back. There's no way I can't be continually drawn back to this idea of the cross, to this idea of forgiveness and redemption, and taking that seriously. What does that mean? What does that look like? I don't know. But as I continue to take it serious, I continue to look at my own behavior, as I find those ruts, as I pay attention, and as I share, right? As I shared today with my son in the car ride to school, there was a shift inside him that was noticeable. I could feel it and see it. When we share, the truth of who we are and the things that hurt and the reasons that we have gone and hurt others in response to it, when we make peace with it in our own selves, and then we can come out and share it with the others, all the others, neighbors, enemies, right? It's biblical. Who's your neighbor? Everyone, the Samaritans, right? Love your enemy. You've heard it said, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Love your neighbor and hate your enemy, right? No. He says, no, you're wrong. Jesus keeps saying this. No, love everybody. What's the number one commandment? Love God and yourself and everybody, right? It's everything. It's everything. Learn to accept the love of God, internalize it so that you can forgive yourself and love yourself, and then pour that abundant love that's always been right there out on the people around you, starting with your family. Love your children, love your spouse, love your pets, love your neighbors. Start there, the epicenter, right? And grow that love and grow that heart, that spirit muscle. It's like doing reps in the gym. Grow that spirit muscle. Start small, start in you. You have to love you and forgive you first. You have to accept the love of God before you can dump it out on everybody else abundantly. And I couldn't do that. For 38 years, I tried everything in my power and I couldn't make it happen. Every year, every cycle, every come around, every hobby, every distraction, every salve I tried to put on the wound, it always came back. The pain always comes back. Like Jonah in the fish. You can run, but you cannot get away. You have to face the challenging pieces of who you are and what you're called to do. I'm sure I'll be back. This isn't really something I want to do. But again, I'm trying to be obedient to the truth. Obedience, I don't know, discerning still, not just blindly doing whatever pops into my head. Discerning, trying to look for a real actual voice. Is it based in pure love? Is it abundantly loving and overflowing to the point where it will change another life and help someone? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you're hearing this and you're like, this is for me. Then I'm glad. If I can save one person 1 minute of the suffering, or to recognize what the suffering's for 1 minute earlier, if you can wake up 1 minute earlier, then thank you. Thank you. I feel like my life's purpose has been achieved. God bless everyone. May all of you see beauty and joy and love and abundance in the things around you in your life. And even if they're not there yet, would your heart be so filled by God's love that the overflow creates that in some way, whether here or in the kingdom of God, which is at hand, this close. We can change the world. We really can. If we start in here and then go out.